everyone, it is Monday, so it is time to have a go at a planner page. Now this page is from Magical Jungle and it's a gorgeous picture. I absolutely love this particular picture in Magical Jungle. Now Chris Cheng has done a gorgeous version of this page, which I have coloured along with her, and it was just such fun and so lovely. I think it was the first Chris Cheng one that I did. It's a simpler one from Chris Cheng in the sense that because it's a smaller picture, takes a bit less time, but Chris Cheng does take a long time to do, but her results are stunning. But I'm not going to try and do something like hers. She's just amazing. I'm just going to have a go in my own way at doing some of this page. I might do it all and do it in bits and bobs in different videos, but we'll just see how it goes really, see how much I get done today. So we're going to zoom in a lot and start down here with the lily pads. Rather than what I sometimes do is do one and then leave you to do the rest, I might just do all of them at once today. And I'm using my Castle Arts pencils. I just grabbed them really, so thought they had a nice set of colours for this particular image. I thought they would work colour wise. So I'm going to start with the chrome green, which is my darkest green I'm going to use on my lily pads. And let me think, how should we start? I think we'll start with the outside, because the outside has got a little line around. We'll do that a bit darker. So we'll start with a layer on the outside. Let's just start there and see how we go. So it's just medium pressure. This isn't going to be the final layer of colour. So yeah, we'll just get going really. So I don't know why I particularly like this image. I just always have. I'm sure we all have certain pictures in certain books that we like the best. It's not always easy to say specifically, but this, I don't know if it's because it's a smaller one, so it's not a whole page, so it looks a little easier to tackle. It hasn't got huge, I mean it's got these big areas around it, but hasn't got lots of big areas to fill with colour. You don't have to do the background, you know, but it hasn't got really teeny details either, so I think that's part of the appeal. But I think I just enjoy I like colouring lily pads, don't know why, I just do, so that helps me. Not always so keen on animals. Sometimes I'm in the mood for them and I have fun, but not always. Fish and frogs, quite simple. Furry animals a little bit more off-putting sometimes, just because you've got to make a bit of an effort with the fur. So I try not to colour the frog. But these little animals, these are fine. And we've got some pretty flowers and things as well. So I think it's just a combination of the sort of types of items in the picture really that I like. And you know, now I'm sort of in my mind going, what's my favourite picture in each of Johanna's books? It's a really hard question to answer, isn't it? I'm trying to think. It's sometimes the books blur a bit into one as well, so that makes it trickier. And it also depends what you're in the mood for. Sometimes I'm quite happy with doing something quite random where there's just odd bits and bobs on a page, and then you can just tackle one item at a time and you don't have to do a background. So like the cake page in Worlds of Wonder, or the tickets, that sort of thing. But other times I like to have a page which has got a sort of, which is, I don't know how quite to put it, a real scene. So in, I think it's Secret Garden, there's a page with a shed and a vegetable box, and it's a sort of garden, a veggie garden, and that page is really nice. You can do a sort of sky background and that sort of thing. So sometimes I'm really in the mood for something like that, where it's a whole, so the whole picture tells a story. It's not just random bits and bobs. But I also am really getting into colouring mandalas, and I'm just doing a sort of choosing a colour and off we go, and not thinking too much about blending and shading and reality. So, you know, it can depend on your mood a little bit. But I think thinking about favourites, I mean, I love elephants, I always have. So the elephant pages are always attractive to me. There's a couple in Magical Jungle. There's a sort of wallpapery elephant page which I really like, and there's just the elephant covered in leaves, which is fun. And there's of course the elephant with the balloons in Worlds of Wonder, which I like. But then, because it's your favourite, it puts pressure in your head to make a really good job of it somehow as well. Then now let's see, I'm going to grab another colour now. I'm looking at the Oxide of Chrome. I'm not sure if it's lighter. I mean, if you look at the bottom, it looks lighter. This is the Oxide of Chrome. But if you look at the tops, that one looks lighter, which is the... I'm going to scribble them. Bear with me. You can hear me scribbling off camera. Oh, it is lighter. Yeah. So this the Oxide of Chrome I am going to use next, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the top of what I've done already, just to tidy it up and blend it in, and overlap that with the edge of the now I'm looking, is that the same colour? Am I actually using the same one? No. And we're going to do that. Now these are quite different sort of looking water lilies too. Suzanne Wimpney Berry did a page with some on from Magical Jungle. They were really pretty. I coloured along with her. She did lives on a weekend day in the Johanna Basford Pages colouring group, and I coloured along with her. I don't know if I always managed to colour live, but I sort of caught up and had fun with those, and it was a really nice, I think it was some of her first sort of videos really, and they were nice, they were good fun, and I did those. But my technique is different, but that's okay. It's nice to do something different. We don't want to copy each other. We can learn from each other, can't we, doing things different. It's a little bit messy, but we're going to carry on and do the same here. Oops, it's because I'm not on it. I find leaning on the ring of the book makes me rush because I want to move my hand. So I'm just going to move my hand down a bit, and hopefully you'll still be able to see. Yeah, some people like to ring bind all their books because they like... I can understand the pros. So you can fold the book back so it takes up less room on your desk. You don't have to try and get into the middle of the pages don't fall out. There's a lot of pros, but I just can't get comfortable position with my hands sometimes when I'm colouring. I know I could turn it round, but I don't like doing that when I'm on camera because it can be a bit confusing if I'm colouring upside down, and if I kept doing it, it might be a bit distracting for you. But also it might mean that my hand's quite a long way away, and it be a bit, just generally a little bit awkward. Now I've done that with quite a heavy edge, so I'm just going to blur that in like that. And then it will help to blend the next colour in. Oh, mind our froggy. I don't know, I've got a few ideas actually as to what colour to do. I like to do in green because I like green, but I'm not going to. We're going to move to Cadmium Green now. It's a slightly lighter version of this whole sort of palette. And again, I'm going to start right at the edge on what we've done already, and then start to pull that colour in. This time I'm going to take it, I'm doing a hard layer over what I've coloured already and a little bit beyond, and then start to fade towards the centre. Now if this was Chris Cheng, I was talking about her earlier, we would have another about 20 layers of colour before we finished each lily pad, and it would look absolutely stonkingly stunning. Just laughing at my own words. Stonkingly stunning. Anyway, but this is, we're going to only do one more layer after this. 4 layers. It's quite a lot. You know, It all depends what we're going for, really. Some days I can colour ages and ages at one little thing. Other days I'm in the mood for completing something and I just want to get it done. And it doesn't mean that I don't do it to a standard that I'm happy with. I just know that I could have added more and more and more if I wanted. But I think it's probably most pictures that you look at when you finish and think, yeah, I could have probably done a bit more here or there, or, you know. But I like to get things done, move on. Sometimes it's like you've had enough of that picture, you want to go on to another, or just that you've got your next one you've already planned, so you're wanting to sort of get on. Or you just want that satisfied feeling of knowing it's finished. And I don't get that feeling unless I'm definitely sure that it's finished, you know. So if I haven't done a background and I've just decided I don't want to, I wouldn't get that satisfied finished feeling unless I knew for sure that that was the right decision. You know what I mean? Right, I'm just sort of trying to neaten that up a little bit. So that's that one. We're going to put one last layer on. Now this set of colours, greens, I rather like, but we may not stick with this one for the whole page. We might swap to some different greens. I'll see how my how it all goes, really, because we've got a lot of greenery in this page, which of course we don't have to do green. So yeah, I find it a little bit difficult sometimes doing leaves not green. If I've got a page and I've decided I'm not going to use green and I'm just going to do leaves all sorts of colours, then that's absolutely fine, it sits fine with me. But if I've got a page where there's green leaves and then I decide to do some not green, unless it's like autumnal and it's oranges and browns and things, and I suddenly think, oh, I'll do some pink leaves, it's really hard. And you're not sure if it's going to look a bit odd. So anyway, so this one is, we're just doing the same thing. Now we've got quite a lot of detail. What I'm gonna do, a sort of tip, is probably something you know already. Now my pencil is quite blunt, but I don't need a sharp pencil for this bit. So what I tend to do, and I do this if I'm doing pencil backgrounds as well, is fill in some of the areas where I don't need a sharp pencil first, and then sharpen my pencil and do the intricate bits. And then I don't feel like I've wasted so much pencil by sharpening it too quickly. I don't know if that makes any sense. I mean, with these aren't massively expensive pencils, but it doesn't mean that I don't sort of think about wanting to just find my pencil sharpener now, preserve them. And also, if I'm using my favourite colours, then I want to, you know, not use those up too quickly. And you do tend to have a habit of reaching for your favourites. There was something, what was it, someone saying this morning on one of a comment on a YouTube video saying they find it hard to choose which colour. And yeah, it can be really tricky, I agree. But if I'm really stuck, it's something I do is hang on, just going to brush, got a little bit of, is I look in my pencil tin at the colours and I look at the one that's the least used, so the longest, and I grab that. And that one gets a bit of love. So that's what I do if I'm really, really stuck. Okay, there we go. So that's the greens. I am going to do a really light layer. Now I'm not sure. What I really want is a yellowy green. I think this one might work. Hopefully. So this is the leaf green light. I'm hoping it's a bit yellowy when it all mixes up, and I'm just going to use it as a final sort of layer to sort of blend, to sort of sit on top. I have found, this is actually something I've learned from watching Chris Cheng, is that if you do a final layer in a light colour, it can help to blend and bring it all together, but also it can just add some vibrancy. If you use yellow, I mean, obviously if you're using pink, I wouldn't stick a yellow on, that's going to make it orange. But on a green, if you use a yellow, it can just make it stand out a little bit more. You can see how this bit just looks a little bit more yellow than this bit from the pencil. Hopefully once I've finished this particular one, you might be able to see. Now you can use an actual yellow. In Prismas, I tend to use this one, I'll show you. You've got either the chartreuse yellow, can you see it's sort of greeny, or just the pencil just jumped off my other end of my desk, or the chartreuse, which is a yellowy green, very light, or in my polys, oh there's that pen, it was a burnishing pencil jumped out. It was inside a pencil holder on the other end of my desk, and it just jumped out onto the floor. I've grabbed it though, it's fine. I wanted to make sure it hadn't sort of got lost or gone anywhere and I forget where it is. So those really brighten. And in the polychromos there is a light yellow lemon or something. It's got a lemon in the name, and that one's quite good for a final layer because it's a bit greeny. I don't think we have a greeny yellow in this, oops, on this one, aren't we, in this particular set, which is why I'm using this green. I'm thinking the yellow might be a dash too vibrant, but you can experiment and play around with colour combos, which is great fun. Now if you don't want to add an extra layer of colour, if you're happy with the colour but you just want it to blend, then of course grab your blending pencil if you have one. I have talked about them in other videos and actually did a little comparison, I think, and I sort of concluded that the Prismacolor blending pencil was probably one of the better ones. The Derwent is really good for Derwent pencils, which isn't surprising, but it does leave a, hopefully you can see a difference between these two and this one. This one hasn't been done. The Derwent one leaves a slightly yellowy colouring on the pencils when I use it on polychromos, but I don't find it does that with Derwent pencils. Perhaps it's because it's made of a similar material, I don't really know. But and it's really good for Derwents, but the Prisma is great for polys. I don't know if Faber-Castell do a blender pencil. Not sure they do. I wonder if I should have a look. I don't know. But anyway, right, there we go. I'm happy with those. You could keep doing a few more layers, get this blend a little bit better if you want to, but no, I'm happy. I'm very happy. So what I'm going to do now is I want to do a completely different colour. So I'm going to do this flower. Now this is obviously a water lily. I'm assuming we're on a lake. So water lilies are often pink and quite pale. And I find that I haven't got a load of really pale pinks, but I think what we'll do is we'll grab the, we'll grab the Grenadine Light and we'll do a little bit of nice light pink. So we want a really light touch, and I'm just going to put a light layer of pink across every petal. I think the centre I'm going to do yellow. I know yellow flower centres are a bit boring maybe, but they can look really pretty, and I think yellow and pink seems to go nicely for a flower. And if you look at lilies, I'm pretty sure the centres are yellow, so I'm happy with doing yellow. So as you can see, I am not doing any shading or anything at the minute. I am just gently applying a light layer of pink. That's all I'm doing at the minute. And trying to put on a pencil lightly, I find is really relaxing. You've got to really loosen up your arm, a really gentle touch, and slow yourself down as well. If you go too fast, it's very easy to accidentally put a hard stripe in there, which is fine, you can erase it, but it's rather nice to just gently massage that paper with your pencil and let the colour spread across. Now I'm thinking a little more about the shading. Now where these leaves are further back, I think they'd be a little bit darker. I don't know if there's supposed to be a leaf in there, I'm not going to put one in. So what I'm going to do, I'm tempted to sharpen my pencil a bit to get right into the groove, but then it's going to be darker. A sharper pencil produces a darker colour. So I'm going to try and do it without sharpening so that I can darken it slightly, but not go too much. Can you see? It's just a little bit, because I don't want it really dark. We do have another flower lower down and some higher up actually. I'm not going to do them all the same colour. There we go. So just the same. So really I'm doing the same as I was doing before. I gently massaging the paper and going lightly as I can, but because it's my second layer, you can see it's a little bit darker. I'm trying to keep it a bit lighter towards the tip. I've got one here, haven't we? As well. I want it a little darker in the centre as well. I am going to sharpen because I don't want to overlap the centre circle if I can help it, because I know that sometimes these stronger colours are a little difficult to erase and we want yellow in the middle, not orange. So I'm just going to gently put a little bit of colour there where it's overlapping, a little bit around here, just a touch. Getting a bit more into using pinks. Not really a pinky person, but actually I can see how, as long as you use them lightly, I can beginning to find them attractive. Now for me, that's plenty. I know it's really gentle, it's simple, just a little bit, but I'm happy. I am going to choose my yellow though. Now I don't want a, whoops, I'll show you what I don't want and then I'll show you what I do want. And I don't want an orangey yellow like this, and I don't want a browny yellow, sorry that's really out of focus, like this. I want a really, just a nice creamy pale yellow. Now I am going to use this primrose yellow. See, it's slightly orangey. Actually, no, that's lemon yellow, that's lemony. I really want a creamy yellow. I think this primrose is going to work, so we're going to use the primrose yellow. And again, just gentle. I don't know how dark I want this to go, so I'm just going to build up the colour. I know some of these yellows are a little bit pale, so they need a little bit of encouragement. I am trying to press lightly though, because I don't want to suddenly have a big line or dollop of colour. I don't think you can get a dollop of colour off a pencil. That would be a paint, wouldn't it? Or maybe a paint pen. Ooh. There we go. We could put some paint pen on here, thinking about it. I don't. It's very vibrant, but maybe that would work. You know, I don't really want it much darker than that. It does look a bit darker on the book than it does in the camera. I never know how accurate the camera screen is, but the camera adjusts for the light in the room, so it's a little bit tricky. I can't really, I put a lamp on so that you can see, but I can't really adjust massively. I am going to use my yellow Posca pen. Here he is, Uni Posca PC1MR, which is the bullet tip. Let's just make sure I didn't overshake it. I think we're okay. And I'm going to put a few dots around here. I don't know how well the yellow will show up on the pink and on here. So it's not, if you go over the black, show up a little bit better. It's not huge amounts, but I think it just makes it looks a little bit better in my head anyway. It's up to you whether you do that or not. It does show up more. No, it's not going to work, is it? It does just put it up so it's blurred. It does show up a bit more from where I'm looking than in the camera. Now I was going to do there, but that's wet, so we can't do that. Should we do frog? Should we do froggy? Now I was thinking I'd quite like frog to be orange. I quite like an orange frog. So, but I'm not sure how dark to go. So I'm going to start with, here we go, with a cadmium orange and a light layer all over Mr. Frog, and then we can have a think. We have got dots. Yeah, we'll leave to colour all over him. Now, I do like a green frog, she says, colouring orange, but he's not going to show up on our green lily pad very well, so I thought we would do orange just so he really shows up. Now, frogs come in all sorts of colours. If you want a realistic looking frog, I mean, this to me looks like a poison dart frog, but if you want a realistic looking frog, then have a look on your search engine and see what you can find. Now that's our basic layer. I'm going to go in with a darker, yeah, I'm going to use this to do some of the colouring. This is the Terracotta. Oops, there we go. And it's quite a dark, it's a browny orange, and I'm going to use that for his belly. So I'm just going to go over in a light layer first. You can see it just darkens that orange, and then I'm thinking he's going to be much darker near the bottom. So I'm just going to try and do that and put some darker bits underneath. It looks quite red, but I think that's fine. And I'm going to do his toes in this slightly darker colour too, but just take them partially up. The feet, sometimes they have this sort of slightly darker bit. I think it just adds some interest. Now I'm going to grab a, what should we use? We'll go for the Orange Lake. It's just a very slightly darker orange than the cadmium. I've got to keep sharpening this time because he's quite a small little character, isn't he? And what I'm going to do with my Orange Lake is pick out the areas that I think need to be a little bit darker. So I am thinking that all the bottom here, but I don't want it to be too dark because obviously we want this bit, his belly, to still show up as being a little bit different. So I'm just going to put a light layer there, maybe a little under his eye, and then sort of here, like where his knee is, and a little bit on the back, and probably in there. I think that's probably it, and I'm going to return to the cadmium orange and just layer him back over because he's a bit too pale. So this is another gentle layer so that we can see those different colour oranges, but just make him stand out just a little more. I'm going to try to keep with this sort of darker near the bottom and lighter at the top with him. Now don't worry about these spots, we're going to attend to those in a minute. Now I'm going quite lightly, there should be room to go over the top of this orange, which is what I'm going to do when I do the spots, and I'm going to do them in a brown. We have a sort of we have a sienna, I think it's called. No, I'm lying, it's called Sepia. I need to sharpen it, and it's quite an orangey brown, and I'm going to do his spots in that colour. I'm not sure if this is going to break. It felt a bit weird when I sharpened it. Let's see. Now I want them to stand out as being different, but not really loads. I don't want them to look like they are raised, so I'm just going to colour them in like that. There we go. And I'm just going to use that to put a tiny bit of shadow under his eye at the very bottom of his body. It's basically all those places we wanted a little bit of extra shadow. There we go. Now under him on the lily pad there would also be a bit of shadow, and I'm just trying to think about where to mark that. I think I'm going to use a brown, so I'm going to use the burnt umber to just create a little shadowy look. So sort of under here just a little bit, and maybe under some of the toes and the arm and the body, like that. Just a little bit, not too over the top. You can do it darker if you want, but that's, for me, that's absolutely fine. Now, all we've done today is that 4 lily pads, a frog and a flower, but I'm going to leave it for today because we've been 30 minutes. It's quite a long time, really, I think, for you guys. I know that you like little bits and bobs of videos sometimes to sort of fit in your day. So I'm going to leave that, and I am going to come back tomorrow and do some more. So I don't know how long it's going to take me to sort of finish this picture, but I think I will finish it with you, and we'll do a number of sessions on it because, you know, I do like it, and I'm sure hopefully you do too. So thank you so much for watching. Have a very happy Monday. Enjoy your day, and happy colouring.